Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for a lower body day, but a quick reminder, if you guys will please click like down below, be greatly appreciated. If you are not following or subscribed, please do so. And if you guys will be kind enough to drop me a comment down below, I would appreciate that. Thank you so much. So let's get over to the training. I decided to do kind of high bar pause squats. Okay. So I had to drop down to 365. I've been doing the work session like 405, but I want to do really deep and notice that we're pausing. And so why are we doing this? I'm cutting. I need to make sure I am stimulating as much muscle growth as possible. So because I am doing what I'm doing in my diet, I've discussed it in the vlogs or the walking stuff a lot, and I'm doing 2 hours of list cardio every day. I need to absolutely make sure that my training is geared towards stimulating muscle growth. Now, I'm still doing a lot of low rep stuff. We're still doing some threes on just lower body. Most of the upper body stuff is 6+, but we're still doing 6 rep sets of bench, stuff like that, right? A lot of 6 to 8. We're still focusing on big compounds, so we're keeping strength in here. We are still focusing on being strong, but I need to gain muscle. So what I have to do is create the most anabolic environment possible. So I'm having to look at exercises and go, what kind of, other than like the deadlift. Deadlift is going to be my one where I don't care. I'm just going to come in and hit heavy triples and stuff. That'll be the exception, by the way. When people say, but the deadlift, okay, you're not going to take my deadlift from me. All right, but I digress. Trying to get as much tension as we can on the muscles, trying to stimulate as much muscle growth as possible. That's why stuff like this, same thing you'll notice, the belt squats, I went ass to grass today, had to reduce weight. I started doing calf raises up on a plate so that we get a deeper stretch. So what I'm doing, I need to maximize muscle growth. That's also why I'm taking the volumes up to about 12 hard sets a week. Now people will say, but the arms are only 6. It's like, okay, I'm willing to count the pushing and pulling as half sets though. Bench dips, pull-ups, rows. So I feel like if we get 6 really hard sets, stuff like the pullovers, the curls, I think we're good. But I'm also going to have to add in delt work. And all the delt work is going to be done here on the lower day. And it's going to be 12 sets, but all focused heavily on the side delt. Why? My front delts are good from the pushing. I'm doing a lot of pulling, rear delts are hit. All side delt exercises hit both, by the way. They do work all 3 heads. So we're just going to focus on building the muscles. Okay, we've got to focus on stimulating muscle growth. All right, number 1, that keeps our energy turnover higher. Number 2, it makes sure that our body stays in a more anabolic mode because we're trying to lose only body fat, not muscle tissue. So another reason I'm doing the very, very high carb and then using the list cardio. All right, the idea here, again, nutrient partitioning with all of this. So I want to, in theory, gain some muscle while getting leaner. But this is really, really just bodybuilding and body composition. But we still have the strength focus. So it really is power building because we're doing heavy squat, bench, and deadlift. And that's the beauty of it, right? That's the beauty of it. We are continuing to do those. So it really is power building, but all this stuff is bodybuilding gear. And a lot of people, you're doing a lot of 5s to 8s. And it's like, yeah, because that's still hypertrophy. Okay, that's still hypertrophy. So we did three sets of deadlifts, and 500 for triples is hard enough right now. Like with this deficit, I feel there's a training stimulus from it. The pause squats, I definitely felt my quads were lit. I'm going to have quad DOMs tomorrow. And yes, I know it's a lighter weight. People are like, man, you're only doing 365, but I'll see if we can build it up. So if we can build that up with those deep pause squats, then we'll be in a good place. We know that we're stimulating growth. But the other thing, so let's say I do a bunch of pause squats like that. Let's say I do the deep belt squats and we get the quads bigger while getting leaner, dropping body weight. We'll build a big squat out of it. How easy will it be for me to build a big max squat right back up power squatting if I have the quads built, right? We maximize quad growth. That's going to make it real easy. Other thing people will probably note with these vlogs I haven't mentioned, I'm doing a lot of standing stuff, a lot of axial stuff. It's like, man, you're doing all the squats and deadlifts for reps. You're doing the standing calf raises now. You're doing standing barbell rows, right? Okay. I'm going to have to build the trunk musculature up, and I'm doing hanging leg raises at the end of every workout. Why? Why am I doing all that? I'm going to get leaner. My waist is going to get a lot smaller. I need to make sure that my core, the entire core musculature, all of it, is strong and thick, because otherwise I'm not going to be strong. I can't afford for my waistline to get weaker as I start losing body fat and bloating everything around it. Okay, so you're losing some of that support padding. We have to bridge that gap. So yeah, I'm gonna hit those things hard, and yeah, there's gonna be some fatigue. But you know what? I can sleep more. I'm eating tons of carbs. I'm eating really tons and tons of vegetables. We're good. Focus on that recovery. But notice the difference here on these. These now I'm going as deep as I possibly can. That is, I'm bottoming these out. For those who don't realize it, look at where my hamstring is on the calf. I'm going all the way down to the limit. So what is the point of this? Just like the pause squats, we are taking the quad through the deepest possible range of motion, the deepest stretch at the bottom. Notice I do have a fair amount of stretch stuff, pullovers for the triceps. Right, this stuff is deep stretch on the lats, so on and so forth. So the idea is to get as much mechanical tension as I can on those muscles, even on these big compounds, even if we have to compromise a little weight, because we've got to get bigger. Focus on size. And the reason I say that, because if I'm going to be in a deficit, the last thing we want is to not grow. We need everything growing. So I'm trying to make sure every muscle is getting near optimal volumes and stimulus. So that's the other reason I'm going to do 6 sets of delts, focusing on side delts on both the lower days. Yeah, technically we'll get 12 sets for the rear delts with the pulling, 12 sets of interior with the pushing, and that's not counting pullovers and all that, but those side delts, that's going to be the thing. And keeping in mind, my rear delts do lag quite a bit, but we're doing all that pulling now. So I'm not going to do chins. I'm going to do pull-ups. I'm going to do rows, bent over rows. That's going to hit those, but then all of this delt work will too. So I went with just today upright rows, and then the chest supported, slight forward, lean, lateral. So notice on the upright rows, I lean forward just a hair. Why? Because otherwise they can be a little anterior dominant if you're not careful, and my front delts are big. They're still going to get stimulated from this. This is to build everything. I want to make sure all 3 heads of the delts grow, but that puts a little more focus towards the posterior side delt, and then the traps. So the traps are going to get a good stimulus. So I need my traps to grow. But I'm doing rows, I'm doing deadlifts. So I feel like if I add the upright rows and laterals here, that'll give my traps more stimulus, especially considering I'm doing 6 sets of deadlifts and 6 sets of barbell rows a week. Traps should be getting more than sufficient volume, but I need to build that upper shelf. I feel like that upper shelf up there does limit my squat a little, and if I can continue to build it as I get leaner, so the rear delt, the trap, all of that, side delts, if all that comes up, I'll also have not only look better when I get leaner. Realistically, I've had other coaches and friends tell me, like, look, dude, if you just strip body fat, your delts will probably be the most need for the most aesthetics for you. Realistically, if my waist gets a lot smaller, my arms are going to look a lot bigger. And I've worked on them really hard, but we're going to continue to push them, right? We're still training arms. I mean, dips, pullovers, curls. But I need to make sure that whole shoulder girdle and that side delt, rear delt, upper trap, all of that does need to come up visually as I get leaner. So, we strip down lean enough to have abs, tighten up the waistline. The loose skin tends to go away whenever I've dropped water weight in the past, so I know if I drop the fat, it'll finally tighten up, we'll be good. Because I was also running short on time, like, man, this workout's taking forever. I did supersets on the laterals, right? I did supersets on the laterals and the reverse hypers because we're pretty well at the end. Reverse hypers don't take much out of you. They're so restorative. So also notice on the reverse hypers, what are we doing? We're focusing on trying to take the swing out as much as possible. Now, for some people who are like, there's still a little there, you can't remove it. It is a reverse hyper is on roller bearings. See it just swinging right there? It's on roller bearings with Zerk fittings. I have to have a grease gun. You can see it in the back corner back there. That's the grease gun I use to make sure all this stuff stays greased. So my reverse hyper and my belt squat have roller bearings and Zerk fittings in them, so I have a grease gun for that. We keep them greased up just like you would under your car. So again, trying to minimize it so then I can do like 10s, right? And then for the laterals, I'm using the incline bench at the highest setting, so it's just a slight incline. So number one, it takes any cheating out. Number two, that slight forward lean gives us a little bit of bias into the rear delt. And I know my rear delts need work, so I'm making sure with these shoulder movements that both of them are leaned forward a hair, just to put a little more emphasis on the posterior side of the delt. It's minor, but it is there. So hopefully all of that shoulder work combined with the rows and the wide grip pull-ups will continue to get that area brought up. Hopefully it gets enough stimulus that in spite of a deficit that it grows. But notice at this point everything is balanced. Every muscle in my body other than the calves and arms are getting 12 direct sets, but they're all getting indirect, right? So that's why I'm doing, 6 curls, 6 triceps, 6 calf raises a week, because they could use the direct work, obviously. But I mean, obviously dips and stuff are still gonna help triceps. Pull-ups will help biceps, even the upright rows. But so I'm pushing the strict curls really hard though, which you guys noted yesterday. Trying to do strict curls, full range of motion, progressive overload, pushing them as hard as I can. And then we finish up with a set of hanging leg raises. This was a tough workout. I did 50 minutes of cardio before eating. I'm just now ate my breakfast and I'm doing the vlog. And then I'm going to get another cardio session in. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.